how we might be able to think of ourselves as journalists as we move forward, and our stories and our content showing up in all sorts of different contexts in ways that we won't necessarily be able to control or plan for. Right now, we currently think about how our stories showing up, how they're going to show up on mobile phones, how they're going to show up online, on our desktops, how they're going to show up on all sorts of different things. And we've planned a little bit for that. We've figured some of that out. For the user, the Media Quartet is not only about these 4 isolated platforms, but a series of tools that sometimes can be used simultaneously. So changing the way that we think about mobile has kind of been something that I like to talk about, in the sense of multiple context means wherever there might be a web browser, people will expect to get what they want when they want to get it. So there was a time in the news design history that we worked to improve our storytelling presentation by coordinating and orchestrating all of our writing, editing, and design efforts. And some of those ideas kind of still apply now while we're trying to adapt to the needs of storytelling in a modern context, which is multi-platform and multi-context. And that is our current and is going to be our future media world. Now, if we look at the way that our current sites are, because everything is so templated, a lot of times things just feel really disconnected. The overall reading experience isn't really all that great. And while we're getting a little bit better about coordinating our efforts through design, the writing, the editing, and the presentation of things, a lot of times the people in our newsrooms who are putting our stories online don't really think about themselves as designers. So this is really hard work. We cannot leave it only to technologists to be coming up with solutions for this. So these types of events are really great because that gets everybody in one place and we get to talk about things. So there are quite a few tools that are available. There's an event that happened in the US. This is one of the ones that specifically focuses on the needs and the interests of reporters and editors who work in investigative news and data journalism. For the last 3 years, one of my personal favorites, Chris Wu, has been collecting all of the NICAR presentations, the tutorials, the tools, the work samples. Here is this past year's collection that she put together of the tools, slides, and resources, all that were shared at NICAR this past spring in 2013. Tabula, for example, is from an Open News fellow, Manuel Arson. And it's great for kind of allowing you to pull data out of that are locked into PDFs, and it pulls that data out of the PDFs. Sources got a lot of case studies and a lot of articles. So I kind of recommend anybody read this on a regular basis, pretty much anything on Source. OpenRefine is the next version of Google Refine, and it helps you clean and normalize and connect data sets, and then be able to kind of connect those data sets to some databases. And then Reporters Lab, and they had a great tool for visualizing your notes that you took over time. So basically what TimeFlow does, it gives you a visual presentation of your historical data and historical research and things that you've been doing. So DataRev is great. It allows you to kind of generate a chart and be able to embed it on your site. And Timeline is our most popular tool. Essentially, it allows you to create pretty visual, beautiful timeline with a variety of different forms of media. And then we also, at Night Lab, we just recently released a audio publishing tool. It allows you to upload a file to SoundCloud. It allows you to clip that file, and then gives you a little publisher that allows you to play a sound bite and read at the same time. And then we have a tool that's releasing in about 2 to 3 weeks from now. But it is basically like taking a step-by-step map and timeline and mashing it together. But you can see, like, if you have an event that's happening in multiple locations, it just gives you a way to navigate through that. And again, like Timeline, you can embed video, sound. So finally, I wanted to kind of talk about kind of something I've been referring to as the great news designer rebellion of 2013. When we create these, interactive narratives like Snowfall or some of the other, people that have taken similar approaches, we need to find a way to manage some of that, even though they're individual static sites around the stories, we're acknowledging the fact that we want to create a static site around a story and create a very focused experience around a story. So a couple examples of Tarbell in the Wild is His Saving Grace, which looks like this. Tabletop is, a pretty simple JavaScript library that allows you to get more out of your Google spreadsheets. It basically gives your Google spreadsheets some legs, and it makes them really easily accessible.